Okay, I'm here with Bill, the owner of Todd and Holland Tea House. They have phenomenal tea from all around the globe. Look them up. They're in Forest Park. Okay, Bill, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I was raised in this area. I've lived in Illinois for over 80 years. I went to public schools. I graduated from a state university, and I have been in the tea business for the last 29 years of my life.
Wow, an entrepreneur with a successful business. How long have you been married?
Coming up on 56 years.
Jubilee. That is fantastic. As you know, that's very unique in today's world to be married that long. So I will ask you, not what's the secret, because it's not one particular recipe, but what is your working recipe?
Well, there is basically one recipe, and that's when you get beyond the 3-4 years of being gooey in love. I just love your eyes. You have the most beautiful eyes. Guess what marriage is? It's a partnership. And a partnership means that the two people involved are committed to the same mission, whether it's a business, whether it's sports, whether it's a marriage. And generally in marriage, the cement that holds the union together are children. You've got to be a real rotten rat-fink husband to walk off and leave your wife with 2 or 3 kids to fend for herself. And you've got to be first-class hussy to leave your husband with the same 2 or 3 kids and chase after what looks like a better piece of roast beef. And if people do that, the commitment probably wasn't there in the first place. So the commitment to the partnership is that you believe in the mission of whether it's a business, whether it's a, as I said, sports, or it's a marriage. And if you don't, then the odds of you lasting 20, 30, 40, 50 years are probably slim to none in today's society.
Absolutely.
Hollywood projects serial monogamy to every 12, 13, 14-year-old boy or girl who follows their favorite movie star. And there are very few long-lasting marriages in Hollywood simply because it's more profitable to switch spouses when you switch films. But be that as it may, it's the commitment that comes from a partnership, and if the commitment's not there, the longevity is probably not going to follow. But
So both you and your wife are committed to the
yeah,
business
can
as
you
well
stop
as
this?
Yes.
Because this man wants to buy. You were asking about Janet's.
Okay, so you and Janet are both committed to the marriage and your business, and it works for you.
Most of the time. Anybody who said all the time is smoking banana leaves. But no, yes, we are. I don't think either of us signed up to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner with our partner for 29 years in the last half of our marriage, but circumstances produce interesting realities, and that's what we did to keep the wolf away from the door and put our children through college and go on with life.
Wow. It's wonderful that you're able to do that, because many couples, they can live together, but to work together takes another level of patience and perseverance, because two people will have occasional rambunctious, differences.
Two partners in a business have different views.
Exactly.
But again, if the commitment is to the business, to make the business work, then the positions that people take tend to get adjusted for the goal of keeping the business going. But it's the same in marriage. In other words, if you think that you can get a better deal down the block or in another state, the fact that you were initially committed and you contractually bound yourself to a relationship means that, you're a cheater, plain and simply.
Yes. Marriage is a covenant, and most people, are just not as committed as you two seem to be.
It's back when the 2, 3, 4 years of being gooey and loved pass, then the commitment comes from, we're in this together. What do we want to accomplish? We want to raise our children and keep them jail-free into adulthood. Yeah, and so that takes some effort.
Right.
And it takes some compromise, and it takes commitment. Some days in a partnership, one partner is giving 90% and the other partner is giving 10. And the next day, the partner that gave 10 can be giving 40 and the other partner can be given 60. And some days the partner that gave 60 is given 20 and the other partner is forced to belly up to the bar and give 80%. And so there are no guarantees and there are no prediction of the future as being a perfect, situation.
Right.
We aren't guaranteed good health.
No.
And we aren't guaranteed that we'll always have the job that we have or that we'll always get the job that we want. And so there are simple basics in life that are not being taught in school and that I just happen to firmly believe in. If you never want to be poor, it doesn't matter whether you're yellow, green, pink, purple, black, white, brown, graduate from high school,
Yes.
get a job, and don't have children until you marry. If you do those 3 things, you may not be Elon Musk or Bill Gates, but you will have a roof over your head and no food on your table. And you can go as far as you want to work hard enough to get to the next level. It's as simple as that.
When, how did you two meet?
We met in college. We were both, she was a year younger than I was, and she was a year, class below mine. And, where you meet varies so much with other people. We met in a physiology class, so that, was a requirement that she was taking, and I was in LAS, Liberal Arts and Science, so it was a requirement for me, even though my major was outside my college. And we met when I think I was a junior and she was a sophomore, and we dated for 5 years before we got married. She came from a rural agrarian background, and she had aunts that said, "This guy's just after your body, dump him. If he hasn't asked you to marry him in 9 months or a year, he doesn't have good intentions." And they were from a farming community where kids graduated from high school, got married, and husband worked and the wife had babies. And so, they weren't dissing me, they were merely saying, this has gone on way too long.
Right, by their experience.
And so, everybody, varies. So it's, the older I get, the less absolute I become in my judgment of other people.
Because you see so much around you that's, some of it, is very different from...
Well, it's very different, but it's different going a bad direction.
Oh, in a horrific
direction. And so,
it's an understatement.
Those people will not make it to 40 with any stability in their lives. And again, when you're spending $30,000 a year to educate a Chicago public school student, and they can't read or write or do basic math, and that they're 1, 2, 3 years behind their grade level,
Yes.
what are you going to expect? 300,000 kids in the Chicago public school system,
Yeah.
and during the pandemic, 165,000 of them never logged on once to e-learning. That's half.
They fell behind so far.
They're not behind 2 years or behind 4 years,
Right.
and they'll never catch up.
No.
And so what you've done is you've almost lost a whole generation.
Right.
So, I'm not, I am mad as a citizen that that has happened, but can I correct it? Can I save all those 165,000 kids? No.
No.
I can't save the 5 million people that have left Venezuela to go to Colombia, and some of them are coming up here to, get away from a dictator who has stolen
Everything.
from them, and they're starving if they live in their own country. So we have a lot to be thankful for in this country.
Absolutely. It's the greatest country in the world, and I don't care who has an issue with that. Then they should go to another country and
Ooh.
experience what it's really like.
I agree with you there. If I were king, every high school student would spend 6 months in a third world country.
They would come back
Between
and
their
finish
junior
their
or
education.
senior year, and when they came back, they'd have a little more appreciation for what they had.
Absolutely.
But, today, all people want is, I want my child to travel. I want them to see Paris. I want them to see Milan. I want them to see Geneva. I want them to see St. Petersburg. And that's wonderful from a geographic point of view. But how about seeing the other side of St. Petersburg?
Right.
The Russia where people don't have enough to eat.
Right. Absolutely. I thank you so much, Bill, for your time. So commitment and compromise, you have it. Thanks again for your time.
Well, you're welcome. Are you going to drop by a